Welcome to the Dr. Diane Show, where we explore revolutionary expansion of mind, body, and soul with me, Dr. Diane Hayden. With over 20 years of expertise as a mindset warrior, perspective shifter, and unshakable optimist, I am dedicated to helping you reach your wildest dreams in business, health, performance, and relationships. Learn about the power of thought and how it shapes your life to take risks, change careers, find love, go on adventures, and live passionately with me, Dr. Diane. Get ready for revolutionary ways of thinking, being, and creating an amazing life. The Dr. Diane Show starts now. Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Diane Hayden, and you are listening to the Dr. Diane Show on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us for the next hour while we will explore revolutionary expansion of mind, body, and soul. Each week on the Dr. Diane Show, we will have experts from around the country discussing cutting-edge topics on longevity medicine, natural health, mindset, and soul purpose to help you shift your perspective and become a mindset warrior like me. So I am excited to have with me today Dr. Pat. She needs no introduction because, as you all know, she is the founder of this amazing platform that we're on today. And I wanted to have her on because I've been studying successful people for years in all areas of life: career, health, performance, relationships, spiritual, personal development. And I have come up with 5 characteristics or essentials that I think all of them possess in order to make transformational change in their life. So I wanted to have Dr. Pat on here with me today to get her thoughts and ideas on how she has made a revolutionary change in her life and what she thinks about, her opinion on different perspectives. So thanks so much for being with us today. How are you?
I got to tell you, I'm really excited about it. Because for several reasons, the timing, first of all, is so pivotal for a number of things going on in my life, but also, the platform you're bringing forward and the opportunity you're giving people to understand, the core essence, our innate ability to change, to transform literally on a dime sometimes, is so underestimated. And I just feel that because you have not wavered in your conviction on this, Dr. Diane, you haven't wavered. You continue to modify, grow, expand, innovate, provide language that the average everyday people can understand. And that really is what I call the new mainstream of media. It's the new mainstream of holistic living. When we can move beyond sort of language that only 1% of the population, and maybe you lived on a mountain in Tibet, now to be able to talk about energy on mainstream television. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it is pretty amazing. I was actually at a longevity mastermind last week with Joe Mercola and a bunch of guys that are doing some pretty cool research in genetics and literally like turning the clock back. And some of the stuff that's coming out is pretty wild. But what I want to say about that is that the majority of people in the room, funny enough, we're not talking about energy medicine and the power of thought and belief and your mindset and all of that. And I was kind of like amazed that still kind of hasn't entered the whole, conversation and in research and that kind of thing. But, we're onto it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And this is the thing that I love about being here today with you, is because we're going to explore parts of the conversation that perhaps don't get talked about enough, or the conversation about how people get faced with challenges in their lives. And it's hard to even know where to begin to pull yourself up. And, looking at your own personal transformation and what you've done and your willingness to share that. See, that this is the stuff that I get really jazzed about. I get really excited about folks that are so engaged in helping other people share what you've learned. And that's really what gets me excited about the network. Somebody said something to me, Dr. Diane, the other day. They said something like, I can't remember the exact words because it's such a foreign like statement to say to me. It's like it was that English. Was that like English art you just said? And it was something like, you know, how are you going to continue to mentor people? How are you going to continue? We don't get you, Pat. We've known you for 20 years before you even, when you were the crust busting show, and like you work one-on-one with your folks. Like we don't get that. How do you even find time in the day to do it? And, I just looked at him. He's been a longtime friend. Actually, he considers himself a competitor. That's his language. And I just said to him, well, what are you doing with your time, Jeff? Like, okay. I mean, what we're both in the same position. And I said, once upon a time I knew you and you helped me start 20 years ago. And I said, we don't have the same vision, but we have the same passion. And I said, don't you think the world is okay if we all had different visions, but we're so passionate about the spirit of altruism and helping people? And I say, I get there through technology innovations because, I don't know, I worked at the phone company with some genius people and I got that embedded. Or maybe it's just that we're different people having the same spiritual journey to just be in service. And that came out of my mouth, and then I said to him, dang, that was good. Did I just say that?
Right. Who said that?
I don't even know what I'm
you
going to
channeled
say to
it
you today. I'm not sure what I'm going to say to you today. So here we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, I talk a lot about, the 5 characteristics that I think are essential in terms of making transformational change. And I call it the SPARK method. And it's literally, it literally came to me just after years of trying to figure out, how did I get to where I am, and what kinds of characteristics do I see in other people? And we can get into a little bit about that in terms of, each of the different ones and my philosophy and your thoughts. But I just wanted to start with you as my guest, just talking a little bit about what do you think it was in you, or what do you see in other people that sets them apart and allows them to accomplish amazing things in their life?
If you ask the people around me, if you ask Linda, who's been my best friend since 1972, she says that everybody that I meet is an A+ the minute I meet you. And, I'm going to give you the short version because you'll get to talk to Linda and she can give you the inside story. But everybody I meet, and this is not new, this is from a very young age. It didn't matter. You were going to be my friend from the minute. Now life goes on and you realize that it's a great place to start where you see people from that perspective. And sometimes it works out that, you walk your walk and you hold that space. I'm also an interesting, type. I did a session with one of our other hosts, Adrienne, and Adrienne was really interesting. She said something to me like, you're interesting. Out of birth, you never needed any parents. You really didn't need parents. Yeah. You didn't need siblings. You didn't need parents. You were just beating your own drum and just marching out there. And, you were going to connect with people, whether you like them or not. And I think for me, I haven't changed in that way. If I meet you, I genuinely connect with you. And it doesn't matter who you are. And believe me, I've met a lot of people in my life. I've shaken a lot of, pre-COVID hands. I've worked with a lot of women and some men in addiction and recovery. I pulled people out of alleyways with needles in their arms. And it's just my makeup. It's my makeup. The other answer is my mom, who committed suicide when I was 6, was a bundle of love. Now I have 2 women in my life like that. My mom, my birth mom, and my stepmom. And my birth mom, I believe, is that person that infused me with that level of unconditional love.
Mm.
Couple that with a bunch of uncles that raised me up until I was about 8 or 9. Boxing gloves I got on my 5th birthday. Couple love and boxing gloves. And now a stepmom that had to teach me how to brush my teeth, comb my hair, show up for dinner, and understand the power of perseverance. And that to me is such an invaluable makeup of who I am. And do I have bad hair days? Yes, today's not one of them, but I get them. Have I had illnesses in my life? Crippling, debilitating, death type illnesses? Yeah. Have I had many angels? You bet. And I think the key that I think about today, and I still look at, I'm only as good as the people around me. I'm only as successful as the people around me. I'm only as connected as I am to my source energy, God power, whatever you want to call it. That's the way it is. And when I have my forgetter going on, I can't even remember where my phone is, let alone who my higher power is. And I think those are very important to me.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Wow, what a story. I'm excited. This is going to be an awesome show for sure. You're listening to the Dr. Diane Show with me, Dr. Diane Hayden, and my guest, Dr. Pat. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will explore more about what it takes to make transformational change. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Back on the Dr. Diane Show with me, Dr. Diane Hayden, and I am talking with Dr. Pat today about transformational change. Before we continue, I just want to make sure everyone knows how to contact me, and you can find me at www.drdianehayden.com or at either of my publications, naturalnutmeg.com and essentialnaples.com. So back to you, Dr. Pat. That's an amazing story. Wow. And I do agree with you that we are made up of the people that we surround ourselves with, for sure. And like lots of times I've said, especially with creating my magazines, the platform that I've created, it's not me. I mean, I just like opened the space, and it's all the amazing practitioners that write for us and advertise. They're the ones that make the magazines what they are. It's not me. I just came up with the idea and put it out there. So I agree with that. But there are a couple of things that you touched on. Perseverance, I would compare that to one of my characteristics that I talk about in the Spark method is resilience. And I think that and perseverance is very similar. I started off with talking to people about self-confidence, because I think that might be the first characteristic that you really have to develop, is the belief that you can go out there and create something. And I was talking to one of my really good friends who's a massage therapist yesterday about this, and she's in her early 30s. She went back to school for massage therapy. It wasn't her original degree. She started working for a spa. And maybe after 3 years, she went out on her own and launched her own practice. And what she's done with that in 2 years is just amazing. And I see so many other holistic practitioners that just struggle and struggle and struggle and either never get it off the ground, or they kind of limp along. It's a hobby. And so I said to her, like, what do you think it was about you? And the first thing she said was, I just studied what the woman I was working for was doing. And I said to myself, I can do this. And I went and did it. Right. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what I said when I started my magazines. I'm like, you know what? I want my own business. I'm going to do this. And if it doesn't work, hey, I can always go back to teaching, academia. I can get a job. I mean, there was something in me that just was like, I know I can do this.
Yeah. I mean, that is the thing that I think that for me, that is a thing that I so grew up with in both moms, the world of possibilities. And, my dad was a little bit unusual. He was not really around, but when he was, he had 3 girls until he had my brother. And what you're talking about, right? That level of self-confidence, that way that you build, what I called, the energy, really, it's really the energy of infinite possibility. See, that's what I call it. When you are able to realize that the energy of infinite possibilities is available to anyone. I grew up in the projects. I mean, I lived in the projects. Our play day was jumping on a bed until I got that scar right up there by landing on the radiator.
Right.
But that thing you described, right? That's why you and I do what we do, because it's, people think it's a secret, but there is no secret.
Mm-mm.
What there is a revelation. What there is an unboxing. I love the term unboxing. I love that. The people in the retail industry created that term. Like when you get something and you get it at home, like I had to really take a tutorial on my Titanis robot. They're like, unboxing your robot. I'm like, okay, but they don't mean just taking it out of the box. That's not what they're saying. They're saying taking it out of the box, understanding the piece parts of it, and then this is how you learn. Do you have all the pieces that you need? And once you realize that, you have the tools then to take those pieces and transform them into exactly what you wanted. And that's why I love that term, because isn't that us though? Isn't that what we make available to people? Isn't that really the idea of, look, I'm going to help you unbox yourself today? I mean, it sounds weird, doesn't it? I just made that up today. But it's real.
Yeah.
A lot of times though, in my life, and let me ask you, I wasn't even sure if I had all the piece parts to me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we feel incomplete. And doesn't that really talk to, the spark method? Doesn't it really talk to the fact that when you feel you're incomplete, unless you're watching a Jerry Maguire movie and then Tom Cruise completes you, unless that's you, how can we overcome incompleteness? See, isn't that, can you feel the hole from that? And I've been through that throughout my life. I was homeless at 17. I was arrested at 19 on a really fluke thing that I really didn't do. And, honestly, I'm the survivor of my family. I buried 2 moms and 3 sisters from addiction of some sort. And there isn't a day that goes by that I'm just like, I want to thank you, God, universe, goddess. I want to thank you for this moment. Because if I don't go there, I'm like everybody else. I will start to unravel. The box won't even get opened. I won't even be able to see the piece parts. But that's why you and I do what we do, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think you're talking about gratitude, which is, I put that into the K for spark, which is kindness.
Yep.
And it's really just being kind to yourself and realizing that, okay, I don't feel complete. Sometimes I don't, I don't know how I'm going to get through this day. I'm struggling with this business, all of that. I mean, everybody goes through that. Maybe that's what the most important message is that when you look at people like us, and people might say, oh, you guys are so successful, you make it look so easy. It's not easy. I mean, we, as you know, we all go through things like that, feeling, not good enough, not complete enough, struggles that we've had, what you've just described. I mean, I had to defend my dissertation twice. It's, people see the end result and think, oh, I could never do what she does. But you don't see all the little things leading up to the end result that we had to accomplish and go through, and just take it one day at a time sometimes.
Yeah. That dissertation thing, now that's a whole nother show we could do. I mean, if you really want to accelerate self-growth, go back to school. Just all I'm saying, everybody out there, if you really want to push the limit and accelerate your growth, go back to school, because the lessons, at least for somebody like me that went back later on in life to really get that that degree, boy, I learned a whole new world. It didn't matter how many years in business or what I excelled. You were a student. And boy, that was one of the most difficult lessons that, kind of like midstream in my life. The good news is somewhere along the way, I learned humility. The other thing I learned is don't take things personally, even if the dean of the program is really out to get you.
Right.
Even if that's going to be like your story, yeah, get them off your master's committee and don't include them in your dissertation.
That's so funny you said that, because I had to fire one of my committee members too. I would recommend actually a life coaching certification, because I went back to get a life coaching certification after I had gotten my doctorate. In between, that's what I thought I was going to do. Actually, I had worked for 2 different nutritional supplement companies, and I had decided I wanted to start my own business, and I was going to do business coaching for holistic practitioners. And so I was going through the life coaching program. And then I got, the magazine opportunity fell in my lap, and here we are today. But that life coaching certification, I think, to me, was more valuable than getting a doctorate. I mean, it is just amazing as far as the transformation, like true transformation that you go through, because you have to unbox yourself in that, really. And get to the bottom of all of your, prejudices and projections, and the way, challenge the way that you think, and be able to learn almost a whole new language in terms of how you talk to people, and being present and listening and all that. I mean, I would recommend that for everybody. It was honestly one of the best experiences.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, you and I are talking about, like, we're 2 people and we decide to go back to school, or we decide to go to school. That's true. But both of us, even after that process, we had a sanity check with ourselves, or an epiphany. I don't know what you want to call it, whatever you call it. All of you listening to the show, every minute of every day, there's an opportunity to have a transformative epiphany. And it doesn't have to be about something big, like, you and I are talking about, Dr. Diane. It could be about anything. And this is really the key, I think, to how we move forward. I think what we're looking at is, how often do we negate our intuition? How often do we, choose fear over confidence? And that's why I think I do what I do, is because I love this platform we're creating. I love that we're going to go to 10 channels by the end of 22. We just did the beta testing. We have 3 levels of testing for a new technology. We just finished the first test. But you and I are talking about some of the choices we make and our experiences. The angels, though, and I think you referred to this. Boy, I'll tell you, I have more angels in the form of human beings that have showed up in my life. I wouldn't be here today without them. There's no way. There's no way. I wouldn't have graduated without Dr. Carolyn Grandrose. There's no way that would have happened. I wouldn't have passed my master's to doctoral proposal committee if it wasn't for her, Dr. Susan Murphy. And I look at this back today, and I could tell you stories about every person that saw something in me. And that's why I love seeing it in other people, because other people have done it for me and have broken rules that you would never think to break. Corporate AT&T rules. You're breaking the general employee instruction, 10 binders on the wall in HR, and your boss decides he's going to let you, the clerk, you, Pat Baccili, the clerk, take 15 minutes, leave at 4:45 to get to Fairleigh Dickinson for a class. You would have thought the earth caved in the phone company, but he did it. See, if you learn from people like that, and then you don't pay that forward, or that doesn't become a way you live your life, it's almost like we're losing the energy of that level of courage.
Yeah. That's a great story too. And I have something to follow up on that when we get back. You're listening to the Dr. Diane Show with me, Dr. Diane Hayden. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll explore more about the essential characteristics needed to make transformational change. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're back on the Dr. Diane Show with me, Dr. Diane Hayden, and I am talking with Dr. Pat today about how to make transformational change in your life. And I love the topic we just ended with in terms of people recognizing something in you and then you being able to pay that forward. So interesting, because last week I was at a mastermind, a longevity mastermind with some pretty big name people in natural medicine and anti-aging and whatnot. Well, the only reason I got there, this is so funny. Like, I love to kind of like connect the dots of how does something happen? So back in February, I somehow got onto this guy's email list. And his background isn't even important, but he kept talking about this event in July called Freedom Fest. And it basically it's an annual event where people come together and there's all kinds of speakers and workshops and things on health freedom and financial freedom and political freedom, all that, basically free thought, that kind of thing. And I'm like, wow, I've never heard of this event before. It's so fascinating to me. So I reached out to them. I just really liked what they were doing. I reached out to them and said, hey, I have a media platform. I'd love to help you guys if there's any opportunities for sponsorship, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I ended up connecting with the producer, and we did a whole sponsorship for them, and she invited me to speak. So I had a presentation there. So we go and I do my presentation, and they asked me to talk about health freedom because they're expanding that section of it. And obviously my background's in natural medicine and health and all that. And the demographic is probably, I would say, like the average age is like between 50 to 70-year-olds. So I'm thinking, all right, I'll talk about, living younger. And I've just been reading this book by David Sinclair, and he's a geneticist, and his book Lifespan is a fantastic book. If anybody's interested in this kind of stuff, he's literally doing research and finding that you can turn back the clock. He's actually reversed blindness in elderly mice. And he's also gotten them to pretty much break his treadmills in terms of the endurance running that they've been doing. So it's pretty amazing stuff. So I go there, I give my presentation on living younger. Well, this man in the audience comes up to me afterwards, and he says to me, wow, I'm in this mastermind, and it's a group of people, and he's rattling off the names, David Sinclair being one of them, the guy that I was actually presenting some of his research. He goes, you should come. We have quarterly meetings, and there's one the end of August in Boston, and I want to bring you as my guest. Now, I didn't know this guy like from Adam. I literally just met him, and here he is inviting me to this mastermind. And it's a group of 50 people, and they meet, a few times a year. They have speakers, and they're all just trying to push forward the idea that you can live younger and that you can have better quality of life as you age. But it was interesting to me that if I had never reached out to the Freedom Fest producer to just even offer my services to her, I would never have had that opportunity. And I'm like, wow. And where is that? I mean, the people I met last week were just amazing. And now I'm excited, like, okay, where's that going to take me? So it's just like those things happen all the time. And I'm sure they happen to other people too. But sometimes I feel like we don't even recognize when it happens.
Yeah. And, and then there are some of us that do, just like you, and just being able to call that out. But what happens is, it's like if you ever watched or read the books Twilight, the Twilight series, or watched the movie Twilight, the three pop culture rave. I love vampire movies.
I love that movie.
Oh my God, I think I was a vampire. But the thing is, it's an imprint. Let's talk imprints. I love talking imprints. There are times in life where we are imprinted upon. It happens. And it happens through the people like you just described. You know, when you have moments where other people see you, I mean, you know, that one phrase, I see you, that did come through pop culture. I think it was Avatar, but that one phrase out of that pop culture movie, I see you, changed the landscape, albeit for a short period of time, with a new understanding for people. And I think what you're talking about is in the face of COVID-19, post epidemic, pre epidemic, I don't care what part of it you want to talk about, people want to be seen. They want to know that you really do appreciate them. You know, you see them. You may not like everything about them. I mean, you know, honestly, you know, you could be fighting with your best friend who refuses to wear a mask in an elevator, but they're still your best friend. You still care for them. If we're not here to give back in whatever way we can, not quite sure what we're doing. I'm not quite sure if we'll make it, because it takes all of us to really have that energy. It takes all of us to inspire others, even if they can't see a way out or a way up or a way to be healthy or a way to heal, right? I mean, Dr. Diane, for you, you worked with people. You know what it's like to be part of conversations where people cannot really see how their bodies are going to heal, you know, how they're going to be the best they could be at any age in life. And that's part of, you know, what you're doing through this show and beyond, right? You know, this is a conversation where if people like you and me, if we do not step up and speak out and do not keep doing what we're doing in the spirit and of service of others, we're just not going to feel right. Right. And I say that very literally. Like we're not going to feel right. We're not going to feel right on the inside. We're not going to be spiritually connected, because there are just times when you have to do what you're called to do. Period. That's it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And I think, you know, it's interesting when you say, you know, like sometimes we inspire people and we don't even know we're doing it. I remember this one time I was in this aerobics class many years ago. And this woman came up to me after class and she said, I just want to thank you because, you know, I really didn't feel like coming here today and I got myself here and I was on the, you know, the step right behind you and I just kept watching you push yourself and it was inspiring me to push myself. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. You know, you don't even know who you're impacting in a group of people sometimes. And it's just, you know, like if we could become more aware of that, I think that helps you inspire yourself. Like, oh, okay, I'm the role model in this room. Or I'm actually, if I can, you know, continue to push myself or be better or you know, just set the example, you have no idea who's watching and who you're inspiring all the time.
Yeah. We're living in a world right now where things are changing even as you and I speak. And, you know, they're changing and they've changed throughout our lives. You know, I'm seeing some things change that I fought vehemently for the right to have. I've seen things go by that, you know, the ladies that I mentor, the women that I mentor didn't even know that it was a thing that happened. You know, they didn't know that within a minute, you know, the right to get equal pay just disappeared. And I've asked myself, you know, what is different now than when I was, you know, in my 20s and 30s? What's different now? Right? You know, am I different? What's different now? And what I've come to realize is that while I'm not different, the format has changed. Look at us. What are we doing? We're doing like Zoom television shows across social media. You know, you're in one place, I'm in another. When I started this, Dr. Diane, I would get in my car drive 45 minutes, maybe more, to Bellevue, walk into the studio, sit across the spit glass, as we called it, from Benny.
Right.
Every day, like 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's what I did. Look at the world, how it's changing. And yet, how do we stay informed about who we are, how we live our lives, what to do, what changes to make? How about our health, Dr. Diane? How do we stay informed about our health? If I didn't get mysteriously sick 6 months after starting radio, mystery disease overnight. It was overnight. Now I now know it didn't happen overnight, but it manifested overnight. If that didn't happen to me, I probably wouldn't be here speaking with you. I probably would have walked away and got the big fat corporate paying job that I could have gotten. But I got so sick, I couldn't do anything else except pay for airtime. And what happened was I was doing something I loved. See how smart the universe is?
Yeah. We're going to keep you here, even if it means we have to make you ill. Because this is what you're supposed to be doing.
That is
right?
Totally what happened, though.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people who have a lot of stories about illness transforming them into something, whether they create a nonprofit or they create a platform for it or something, or look at all of the naturopaths who go into that career because they had some crazy chronic illness that no one could figure out. Yeah.
That is exactly what happened. I mean, honestly, think about it. I've shared this story before. Sick as a dog. I'm telling you, I gave a workshop. By the end of the workshop, my right foot was the size of like a soccer ball.
Wow.
So I'm a little clumsy sometimes. So I thought, man, I must have knocked it into something setting up chairs. And I couldn't drive my car. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get home. And I went through test after test. The angel lady says to me, Sue Storm, the angel lady, she says, the angels want, I'm telling you, the angels want me to tell you that you need to go look up T3 and then find somebody in your area that does T3. I said, I don't even know what T3 is. He said, it's a thyroid thing. Just Google it. Here I did. Googled it. 2 names came up. Somehow I decided I'm picking Dr. Nushin Darvish. Don't know why. Out of Bellevue. She was in a small facility next to the hospital. Naturopath, graduate of Bastyr University, showed up on her doorstep. And I said, the angel lady told me to come see you about my thyroid.
That's amazing.
She didn't kick me out.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. I love those stories. This is the Dr. Diane Show with me, Dr. Diane Hayden, and Dr. Pat. We're going to take a quick break. And when we return, we will be talking about more tips on transformational change. Stay tuned. Hi, we're back on the Dr. Diane Show with me, Dr. Diane Hayden, and I'm talking with Dr. Pat today about transformational change. If you would like to contact me, you can go to my website at www.drdianehayden.com or my 2 magazines, naturalnutmeg.com or essentialnaples.com. So this is so awesome. I feel like this hour has literally like flown by. Yeah. We're almost wrapping up, but yeah, it's just, I do believe that sometimes negative things, bad things happen to us, whether it's from a health perspective or a relationship perspective, or even a career perspective, that have to happen so we can step into, our greater purpose. Yeah. And I think that this last year, so many people are going to go through that if they haven't gone through that already. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've already talked to or know about that are making big career changes. They were either laid off or they had time to sit back and think, whether they were working at home or they were, just laid off for a short period of time. And they actually were given the space to realize, you know what, I don't love what I'm doing. And this is not my purpose. And I'm not passionate about this. And what do I want to do? What is my why? Like you were saying.
Yeah.
And that for me is the P in spark. It's finding your purpose and your passion. And sometimes it's a health issue that you have to go through to find it. And sometimes it's a career change. And sometimes it's even a relationship, like like, oh my gosh, how many people have you heard of whose relationships have changed for better or for worse in the last year?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you and I were talking about the healing journey that I went on. You know, one of the things that you don't realize is in the middle of a healing journey is that you think you're at your worst, and you think that, you know, in your relationship, you never imagine your partner leaving you. And, you know, now we know the statistics on women in chronic illness. You know, when the going gets tough, yeah, I'm telling you how many people get going. I mean, this is the trend. But you know, here's the thing I love about what we're talking about. This is a network, Transformation Talk Radio and the Transformation Network. I never imagined this would be my thing. I had a business card for crust busting that said I wanted to reach 1 million people and help them live life full out. This was a wrong number I dialed in 2003. And, you know, I sit here today and I have been asked by a number of different communities, the LGBTQ community, you know, the green community, you know, please come speak. And I get a message from my old school district, District 14 in the Bronx. Now, the Congresswoman for District 14 is well known. And I get this picture sent, right, from her office. And it is a flooding subway. Now, I need to take a moment and say, I got to tell you, Somerset, Jersey, all you all out there, my heart goes out to you today. The pictures that are coming in, you know, the unanticipated flooding, subways that are just being overcome by water. This is, for me, to have to take a moment to tell you, I've been through some of these floods on the East Coast, never seen anything like this. And yet today, I know you all are going to pull together and you're going to help each other. See, I know that because that's what I believe in people. I know, you know, I grew up in New York. If you ever want to see a community or a block in the Bronx, where I'm from, come together on an event and be passionate about helping each other, this shows as the best of humanity. This is what we're capable of. You mentioned the past 20 months. What we have seen in humanity and what we're capable of in coming together happen to be overshadowed by how different we are. But we are so capable of coming together and standing for what we believe in. And of course, you know, the pictures that came in from AOC, kind of cute in the way she posts things, really points to the fact that we are so much greater than we think. We come together, we stick together, we demonstrate our differences, and then we fight for what we believe in. Sometimes we agree with each other and sometimes we don't. But boy, look at how unlimited our potential is, Dr. Diane. You know, Elon Musk putting that spaceship together. What did he do? How did they, what space, what? SpaceX? Where's that thing now? And then coming on national television, albeit Saturday Night Live, and giving a lot of us that have been diagnosed in the same way the opportunity to say, I'm different. I'm on the spectrum, but I'm not less than. That's got to be the message of our time. It's okay, we're different, but none of us are less than each other. None of us are. And that's the power in who we are. That's the message of this network. This is a place of inclusivity. This is where it doesn't matter, you know, where you come from, what walk of life, the color of your skin, the religion you are. It doesn't matter to us. But this is a network of positive talk, of solution-based, of spirituality, and of connection. And that, to me, is the greatest gift of my life that I never expected, ever. Never expected it. I never expected to get out of the Bronx, to be honest. That's the reality.
Now you're 3,000 miles away, but
I'm like, what's grass?
right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I agree 100% obviously with everything you're saying. And that's, that's my message too, through my media platforms. And I think what I always knew, but what I definitely realized more so in just watching everything that's unfolded over the last year is that the reason why we have so many problems of disagreement and all of that with people who are different than you is because you're afraid of it. We're afraid of what we don't agree with. We're afraid of people who are different than us and what their thought processes might be or their mindset are all of that. But at the end of the day, I believe that deep down, we're all fighting for the same thing. We all want the same thing. It's just, even if it comes across as a different belief or a different philosophy or not agreeing with someone. But to me, like when you get angry or resentful or whatever, like the negative emotions that you feel when you disagree with someone or when you see something that is a different philosophy for you, to me, it just boils down to fear. That's like the unknown.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to, if you can recognize that and just be okay with it. Like the first step is be aware of it and be okay with it. Then I think that's the step to, okay, having more compassion and realizing this fear thing is not really who I am. This is not what I'm about. It's just that I'm not, that's different from me. So I'm not okay with that, but we just need to be aware that we have that feeling and that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay. All roads lead to home. And there comes why I'm called Pollyanna Patty right there, because that's what I do believe. I have seen us battle on the streets at a very young age. I've seen some of the people in protest lines that I've been with get shot and killed. I've seen us come together and create such amazing events in life. I've seen us clean up the Hudson when I never thought it was possible. I've seen us be in service of others and be able to support and donate money to people that don't have food for their children. Here we are. Look at what we have accomplished in what some people call some of the darkest days. And here you and I are here to live another day and keep doing what we're doing. How does it get any better than that?
Right. Yep. And as long as you're aware of that, I think that's the part about making revolutionary change. Totally.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me hang out with you here.
Yes. Thank you for being with me. I've loved this. And I want to thank everybody else for tuning into the Dr. Diane Show. Please join me every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern and 8 a.m. Pacific. Next week on the Dr. Diane Show, we'll be discussing more about the power of thoughts and beliefs and the impact they have on your life. I hope everybody has a great week. I'll see you back here next time. And thank you again so much, Dr. Pat.
I love it. And thank you for bringing a great show to everybody. And, please keep doing what you're doing.
I will. Thank you for tuning into the Dr. Diane Show, Revolutionary Expansion of Mind, Body, and Soul with me, Dr. Diane Hayden. Tune in every Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Center your thoughts on what you want and shut the door on every suggestion of fear, worry, or lack from your own consciousness or the consciousness around you. Once you master that, everything is possible. To learn more about me, Dr. Diane, and receive a free digital subscription of my magazine, visit naturalnutmeg.com.